welcome to the show, episode 4. We're so excited to have you all here on a Tuesday night, on a lockdown Tuesday night again. Everything seems to be a lockdown day these days. So tonight, great show for you. We have special guest, musical guest, Joel Gallant. But not only is he our musical guest, we're going to be having some great discussions with him. We're going to be talking about primal health. Yes, that's something that's big. That's something Joel is into. That's really big. And I am as well. I don't know if Mark and Tim are. They're kind of into the caveman living. But I don't know if they're into the caveman eating aspect of things. So we're going to check that out. But
I'm just a caveman.
So anyways, yeah, that's Tim Hay and Mark Burschapper. They are the C-Section, our co-hosts, and our writers. And also, don't forget, the C-Section is guaranteed to deliver, have you in stitches, or permanently leave you scarred for life. That's right. So top stories tonight. Let's get to the news. So a big thing that's been going on around the world, and even in Quebec, which doesn't surprise me one bit, but people are setting fires. They're setting towers on fire. 5G towers. The conspiracy theorists are at it. They're out there setting these fires. There goes another one. Are you still with us, Mark? Is that you setting those fires on fires?
No, I'm just putting one out. There's one just on my street here.
That's why you had bad. That's why you had bad internet, because of the.
That was my internet. Yeah, they're burning down all the internet.
You know, it's really funny. You know, these guys are. It's kind of ironic. They're setting fires to 5G towers, which is leading to over 5G's worth of damage, which is resulting in 5G of fines. It just blows me away. Oh, geez. Did I say 5G's there? Did I say 5G's? Anyways,
there was 5.
Was there 5 there? So yeah, here's one in England. They're setting up. There's one actually going up. It's but anyways, moving on from that, other conspiracy theories that are flying around. Well, this isn't really necessarily a conspiracy theory, and this might tie into our discussion tonight for primal health. But I can't believe this. The Americans have said that eating French fries could affect your immune system and not be very good as far as preventing you from getting the COVID virus. So they're telling people to cut back on the French fries.
I like them French fried potatoes.
I absolutely cannot believe that the American government is suggesting that Americans do not eat French fries. After all these years of eating terrible diets down in America, they're decided that they shouldn't eat French fries. But you wouldn't believe this. Up in Canada, they're urging people to eat French fries because 200 million pounds of potatoes have become the latest victim of COVID-19. Now, if I put these articles up there, but didn't tell you what country had written which article, you would never have guessed the outcome here. I cannot believe Canada is suggesting people eat French fries and the Americans are saying don't eat French fries. It's absolutely, and you got to ask yourself, who's responsible for this? I mean, there must be someone there. You just got to keep an eye on your fries, folks. Got to keep an eye on your fries. Speaking of eating French fries, apparently, people are asking now, can you get the coronavirus through farts? And it's a good question. I mean, you can breathe out the coronavirus, but can you pass it out? That's the question I have. But on that note, what's very interesting is in England, they caught a guy hiding in the bushes who had just committed a crime, and how they caught him was they heard him fart. I mean, you imagine if you're two cops now, you're walking around, you're trying to find the guy in the bushes, and all of a sudden you hear a fart. The first thing you're going to think is, it was your partner. Hey, Steve, did you fart? No, it wasn't me. It was you. No, it wasn't. Meanwhile, there's a guy in the bushes who committed the crime who's doing all the farting. And then you got to ask yourself, am I getting the coronavirus because the criminal farted? Absolutely. And speaking of letting one rip, Brian Adams let one rip on Twitter today. Can you believe this guy? He let it go. I got to read this out. Tonight was supposed to be the beginning of a tendency of gigs at Royal Albert Hall, but thanks to some fucking bat-eating, wet market, animal-selling, virus-making, greedy bastards, the whole world is now on hold. Well...
Nothing like making it about.
He sounds like a very upset vegan. I think he had nothing in the fridge but bacon, and he was stuck, and he didn't know how. I can't believe that. Apparently, he's apologized, but it did lead us to running. We did get into some of his songs, and it got me thinking about his new album coming out, because he does have a new album coming out. That's why he's so upset, and apparently, he's redone a bunch of his songs. Summer of COVID-19 is one of the songs he's got on there. Straight from the Market is going to be a real big one. 19 Till I Die. Can't Stop This Thing You Spread. Cloud Number 19 and Run From You. I mean, it's going to be fantastic.
The classic coughs like a knife.
Coughs like a knife. Well, we were going to keep that quiet because I think that was his big video. Coughs like a knife. Yeah.
Coughs like a knife.
Yeah. But that was going to be the end of our news tonight, believe it or not. And but then this happened. Someone masturbating in IKEA. You can't make this shit up. Like I was gonna start Googling to see if this was real, but I figured I better not start Googling masturbating in IKEA. Apparently, though, they did speak to some of the customers, and the looks on the faces were just astounding. The people couldn't believe it. I mean, they were shocked when they saw this.
Haven't you always wanted a monkey?
Unbelievable. Anyways, folks, that's the news for this week, and that a lot of that news was pretty recent. So I can't wait for next week. We're really enjoying doing the news for you. Yeah, it's crazy. All right.
That's crazy.
Oh my God! And the name of the monkey's Darwin, right?
Darwin the monkey.
Oh my God!
Yes, that is crazy.
A few people.
That's crazy.
Few people need the Darwin Award. Anyways, folks, we are going to bring everybody in here. The news is done. Let's get on with the show, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody, hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
The two half-headless people looking over the wall down the bottom are Mark and Tim. We're going to move that up there now because we had some technical difficulties tonight. We had, we had Skype issues. Tim must have had an alias Skype name and he got his accounts mixed up. I don't know what he's doing on Skype when he's not on the show. But anyways, up in the corner beside me, we have Joel Gallant. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Joel.
Hello.
Let's hear it for
Thanks
Joel.
for having me, everybody.
Let's hear it for Joel.
It's a warm reception.
There was more reception there than there was at the fights the other night in the UFC. I'm telling you. Did you guys watch the UFC the other night?
Not at all. No.
That's too late for somebody who's primarily trained to go to bed.
Oh yeah, I watched the whole thing. I watched from 6 o'clock to the last fight. I just watched it, and I never used to like the UFC, but I got into it, and it was crazy watching. At the first, there was like no one in the crowd, just the commentators were spread apart, and two guys fighting, and you could hear the coaches yelling to them. But after the first fight, I completely forgot about the crowd, and it was like any other night, so it was good.
I would think that would be fun, being able to hear the coaches and all the analysis going on and all that stuff.
I had no problem with it.
Didn't someone complain about their opponent overheard the commentators telling him what to do, and then he ended up losing?
No, the commentators?
Yeah. Apparently he was telling them, they should do a leg lock or a leg block, and the guy ended up doing it and then won.
I don't think you could hear the commentators.
I'm
Maybe
just telling you what I...
I guess if they're sitting ringside, they're no further away than the coaches would be.
Yeah,
it is quiet. Wow. But again, anyone can yell stuff out. Hey, stick your finger up his nose. Stick your finger up his nose. Oh, should have been listening. So anyways, we've got a great show. But before we move on, we should do This Week in Music. Do you think we should do This Week in Music?
Yeah, let's do This Week in Music.
But everybody listen at home, folks. This Week in Music.
All right.
This show has really advanced. This show 4 weeks in.
Production values are going through
the
roof.
And we have people writing music now for bits on the show. That's
not just people. We have 12-year-olds. 12-year-olds writing this. My son.
He's a people.
That.
We're getting to that.
He's a people. He's a young people.
That's awesome. Proud dad moment right here, right in the show live.
Definitely.
That's
definitely.
Awesome.
And Joseph, if you're watching, go to bed. It's late.
Joe,
This Week in Music.
Hold on. If Joe got past the masturbating IKEA chick, he can stay all night long.
That's
in.
true. That's true. All right, you're good to go, Joe. You can stay up, buddy. Okay, this week on May 6th in 1973, for the first time ever, Paul Simon set out on a tour without Art Garfunkel. First time. And they recorded the tour for his album, The Live Rhythm. The double album, which came out the following year, and was huge, one of his biggest releases. Let's see, what else have we got here? The number one song on May 7th in 1977, Hotel California by the Eagles. And also on May 7th in 1991, American singer-songwriter Wilson Pickett was arrested after running into an 86-year-old man and yelling death threats while driving over the mayor's front lawn in Inglewood, New Jersey. That's an interesting story. I guess he didn't like the mayor. He was charged with driving with open bottles of alcohol in his car. That's a big surprise.
How long ago was that? How long ago was that again?
1991.
Oh, he'd have got shot today if he did that.
Yeah, probably. Probably would have. Let's see. May 7th, 1992. Nigel Preston, drummer and founding member of The Cult, died in London, England of a drug overdose at age 32. He was also a founding member of the Death Cult, which was in Ashbury's band, the Southern Death Cult.
Doesn't sound like a drug-related issue to me.
Exactly. May 8th, this past May 8th, we had a birthday. Mr. Alex Van Halen turned 67. And now might be a good time if we would like to bring up the old Van Halen topic that we have for the past few weeks.
So, Tim, you asked Joel. You asked him. You asked.
All right, Joel. We've been having a debate since the beginning of this. Who would win in a fight between Sammy Hagar and David Lee Roth? Now, we're also talking current, not back in the 70s, 80s when Diamond Dave was, in pretty good shape doing all his martial arts. But right now they meet on the street and they lay it down. Who's winning?
Who are you going with?
So Sammy is a bit older. I've seen Sammy recently because he's all over YouTube doing interviews and
looks great.
He's put on a couple.
Yes.
And Dave is trained in martial arts, and he knows how to work a samurai sword. So I would have to give it to Dave.
Going to Dave. All right.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I said.
Have you seen Dave recently?
I have. Well,
Dave's the winner this week.
The last time they toured, I guess.
He is looking a little. He's looking a little fragile.
Harsh.
He does look a little. He walks like Liberace might walk.
All right.
But that's okay though. You said exactly the same things I said when I said it, so that's okay. We're on the top shelf too, so that could be it.
The fight debate continues.
We're both on a caveman diet.
About vocals.
All right.
Let's see here. On May 8th, in 1976, world famous BBC Radio 1 DJ Johnny Walker announced he was quitting the station because he was told he had to pretend to like the Bay City Rollers both on and off the air. And he could not handle that. Apparently, he cannot stand the Bay City Rollers, and he will not be quiet about it.
SATURDAY. Night! I like them.
Let's see. On May 8th again, in 1984, Roger Waters released his first ever solo album, The Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking, featuring Eric Clapton on guitar, David Sanborn on saxophone, and Michael Kamen on piano. The original concept album he came up with years earlier was turned down by fellow Floyd members in favor of an idea that would later become The Wall. I guess they didn't want to talk about hitchhiking.
Good choice. These are the
I think it was a pretty good choice too.
Of hitchhiking. I remember that song. I got the album. Why?
I have the album too.
I tried to sell it.
I have a story here now, which is continuing from a story I read last week, which was my favorite from last week. This I did not know. On May 8th in 2006, sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but the Rolling Stones officially called off their forthcoming European tour after guitarist Keith Richards, he had to go under emergency brain surgery after he suffered a mild concussion when he fell out of a coconut tree in Fiji. See, I knew he fell out of the coconut tree. I knew he hurt. I didn't know he
Well, I
went
was gonna
under.
say we
had
did
to go
this.
under,
Yeah.
emergency brain surgery. But apparently, it was far worse than they originally thought.
That they gave him a whole new brain. That's why he's living so long.
I think so too. A younger brain. That's why he's still going.
Awesome. That guy rocks.
Wow.
Oh, okay. An interesting story here. On May 9th, 1970, the current number one U.S. single was American Woman by the Guess Who. And the story behind how American Woman was written was by accident. When Randy Bachman was playing a heavy riff on stage, he had broken a string. The other members joined in on the jam. Later on, a fan in the audience who had recorded the gig on a small tape recorder presented the tape to the group after the show, and they liked the jam so much they developed it into a song. Never knew that.
But
Did not know
they
that.
didn't say how they got the title, though.
I
guess
they
that
can
was-
talk. The American Woman has been rumored to be the Statue of Liberty. It's also been rumored to be your typical American groupie following the band around.
Right.
There are many different interpretations.
I wouldn't
of
know
it.
what that's like.
Joel,
might-
interesting
Joel might
enough, that song has been covered by such bands as Crocus, obviously the Lenny Kravitz cover in 98, and the Butthole Surfers in 1986 covered it. Interesting. So, this past Saturday, we lost rock and roll legend Little Richard, as you all probably know, from bone cancer. He was 87. With songs like Tutti Frutti, Rip It Up, Good Golly Miss Molly, Long Tall Sally, Lucille. He never had a number one hit in his whole career of all those songs. He never had a number one song.
Mackerel.
Let's see here. May 10th, 1985, the Go-Go's officially broke up.
Oh, man.
That is sad news, right?
Linda
Also
Carlisle.
on May 10th, in 1986, Motley Crue drummer Tommy Lee married TV star Heather Locklear in Santa Barbara, California, and he was all decked out in a white leather tuxedo. Good for Tommy Lee. Okay. And on May 11th, 1974, all four members of Led Zeppelin attended an Elvis Presley show in Los Angeles, California. After a shaky start to the show, Elvis stopped the band and jokingly said, "Wait a minute, guys. Can we start all together here? Because we've got Led Zeppelin out there. Let's try to look like we know what we're doing." I could not do an Elvis impression, so I didn't say it in his voice.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
After the show, all four members met with Elvis, and
Is that his voice?
Elvis got autographs for his daughter. What's that?
I thought you were doing Elvis.
Oh,
Thank
no,
you.
no.
Thank
I
you.
don't do Elvis.
Thank you very much. That's good because Joel
Thank you
was
very
going to play a bunch of Elvis songs tonight, so this has been a great segue.
Well, there you go.
50s.
Oh, so the news. Awesome. Let's hear it for the news, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
What a week it was.
Crazy week.
Oh,
Lots of stuff happened.
So, man. So what time is it? Oh, we got lots of time. So,
20 after.
Joel, let's talk a little bit about this. Let's talk first about you, what you're doing musically these days, because you're usually out playing some local gigs, but unfortunately, everyone's kind of strapped to their house.
Yes. So I'm pretty much doing the same as everybody else, staying at home and playing music by myself, I guess. But normally what I do, I have a couple of little acoustic things that I do. I have a singing partner acoustic duo. My good friend Kristen Hare, we're in a band called Gallant Hair. So it's a play on our names, of course, if you didn't figure that out. And then from a solo perspective, I do a 90s thing. So that's kind of my musical wheelhouse, all of the great 90s music, Pearl Jam, etc. And but we haven't been able to do any gigs because we're stuck at home. So here we are.
I caught your one show just recently that you did. Your live stream was really good, really good tunes.
Yes.
Solid.
Thank you.
It
I
was
came
solid.
home. I had been away in the U.S. and I got home and found out that my next gig was going to be canceled. And I thought, well, I already practiced. So.
Oh, that's it. So yeah. Well, that's good. Well, I think that's it. I think it's. I watched somebody do one the other night, and they got discouraged because there wasn't a lot of people watching the show. I could tell they were getting discouraged, and they said, "Well, I'm going to end it now. I'm going to end it early."
Right.
It was like, well, if you were in a bar and you're playing to and there's not that many people there, you're still going to play the whole night. You're still going to keep going unless there's absolutely no one. And I thought it was.
I played in a bar with my dad and my girlfriend before. It's
I think the frustration sitting in right now.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But now the thing is that actual big time recording artists are getting bored, so they're doing all kinds of live streams and things like that. So it's like, well, why is anybody going to watch mine?
Well, I think it's the responsibility though of us to support our friends that are playing. Like, I've watched quite a few of these live streams, and I've even thrown some money out to people that were looking, they put up a PayPal and stuff like that. So I've donated some money to them too. I've watched the whole show, and I've actually quite enjoyed it. But I think the problem is with social media, you're sitting there on your phone watching this show, let's say, but the problem is you want to go back to your Facebook and look at your messages. So you're constantly in and out. So you could have 9 people watching your live stream, but they're in and out all the time. It doesn't show you who's been in until after it's finished, and then you see, 100 people watched it. But no one, it's like if you're in a bar, people aren't really focused on you the whole time. But it's hard. If you've got 20 people watching it, or at the end of the night it said 50 people watched it, you imagine 50 people cramming into the room you're playing in and listening. Yeah, it'd be pretty good.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, it's so you like the 90s, so the Pearl Jam. Well, these two guys below you, they're I don't know if you know, but they're in the Toronto's Pearl Jam tribute band, Lightning Bolt. That's right. Yeah, I saved that one for you. So they're So that's why they look familiar. They're the two famous rock stars.
Of course, yeah.
I have to pay them a lot of money.
I
have to pay them a lot of money to go up their time on a Tuesday night.
I was going to do a Pearl Jam song tonight, but now
do it.
Oh, please do
it.
Go for it. Go for it. Maybe we'll learn how to play it.
Oh, Jeremy's spoken. But
now I want to see Lightning Bolt play.
What's that?
Now I want to see Lightning Bolt play.
Yeah, well, soon. There's some videos out there. I shot 3 videos for these guys, I guess back in November. So, and they did amazing recordings of 3 songs. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was awesome. And
we're working on some stuff now. We're everybody at home is doing their parts, and we're recording ourselves and putting it together, and we're going to get it out there hopefully this week. Yeah. But we're waiting on one guy. I'm not going to say who.
Must be the bass player. Oh, freaking hell. You couldn't even get on Skype tonight. How do you expect him to get a bass track to you?
You can't multitask? Come on.
Oh, it must be working for a living. I don't know.
I've seen the actual Pearl Jam about 50 times, and I was looking forward to their tour.
Yes.
Here we are stuck with, I've got Pearl Jam tickets, but who knows when the date's going to be.
Oh, yeah.
I've got my tickets as well, just waiting.
Nice.
But in the meantime, I'm just enjoying the new album, which I think is fantastic. I'm loving it. I'm really loving it.
That's great.
I haven't listened to it yet. I've listened to the one song.
I know. Well, you heard the first few notes of the first single before the rest of the album, and you thought, oh, wow, where are we going here?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Very
good. As an album, I think that song fits in beautifully with the rest of the album and the songs, and it's great. Yeah, I've listened to it almost every day since I've got it.
Oh, nice.
It's great. Yeah. Can't wait to start playing some of the stuff.
Tomorrow I'm going to listen to it. I'll listen to it. I'll Spotify it.
Listen to it.
I'll listen to it tomorrow.
Everybody out there, listen to it.
Everybody, and go listen to the Lightning Bolt covers too. Go listen to those.
Do that first.
Do that first. I can't tell the difference. I'm being freaking honest with you. I can't tell the difference. So also, we'll dive into this now. We'll get a song out of Joel in a minute. But Joel is also, he's also a cameraman. And he said when you came back, you were working down in Florida for, I guess, what do they call it? What do they call it? What? Spring training. That's it. We haven't had spring yet. How come these guys are down there? We haven't even had a spring yet. They're down there.
There's no spring yet.
But he was down there filming the Blue Jays down there doing that, and then you had to come back because of the lockdown.
It was a strange experience. Every year we cover it for 6 weeks. So we usually split it with amongst 3 camera operators, so 2 weeks each. And I was last this year, so I went down on March 10th, one day early, just to have a day at the beach. And then the next day, we went to Bradenton with the team because they were playing the Pirates on a road game. And we were waiting outside the clubhouse in Bradenton while the game was going on the field. And that's when we heard, the NBA, all the news from the night before, with the game being canceled, like kind of before it started. And then we heard about Tom Hanks, and we're saying, wow, this is getting crazy. It seems
when Tom Hanks is sick, shut her down.
My first thought was like, when I heard about Tom Hanks, why do I know this? Like, why do we even know Tom Hanks has it? But it was a thing. So we found out about that. The next morning, we did a press conference covering the fact that spring training was being shut down. And then I said to my bosses, well, I could just stay here, and just in case they start back up again, because I'm thinking the beach.
Right.
And they're like, no, we want everybody back in Canada. So I was on the next flight home.
Joel would be one of those guys out in Florida on the beach. No, we're drinking with the boys. Yeah, I'm a college student. What are you talking about? I'm on my spring break. Oh my God. We covered that the first show, all the crazy drunks down there, and now we found out Joel was one of those crazy drunks on the beach.
I thought I recognized you.
When I was there, when I was leaving to go there were questions like, oh, this thing's getting a little bit out of control. So while I was down there, I was wearing gloves, and I was kind of being mindful, and I was staying away from people. I was using my elbows for the elevator buttons. People there, it was like they had no idea anything was happening. No. It was just business as usual.
Right.
Well, it's getting like that here a little bit now. Things are opening up, and it's getting a little it's getting a little hairy now. But this was
before they even knew to shut down. Like, they were oblivious for a long time.
You know what? I'm swinging more and more to the other side of this. I think we should be opening up, but we should be taking certain precautions. But the problem I have is everyone has to take some sort of responsibility, and I don't think
they're not.
I don't think people have the capabilities to use common sense. I mean, they're setting freaking towers on fire out there. How can you expect this?
At the beginning of this, the Sweden model seemed to make sense to me. It's like, protect the very vulnerable and use your heads in there.
Yeah, but they couldn't have been. They couldn't have been. It's just, I see it all the time. We talk about this each week now. It's crazy, but you see it everywhere you go. People are just so laxed. And it's just 6 feet. If you're gonna go to someone's house and you're gonna talk to them and you're 6 feet away from each other, you might as well put your tongue in their mouth, because you're 6 feet. It's just ridiculous. Like, it's just crazy. I see it. Oh, they've opened up Home Depot now, so Home Depot you can actually go in now.
Yeah.
And the lineup, I went in this morning, and I went at 7:00, and there was like barely anyone in there. But I drove by there yesterday at 3:00, and there was people lined up the whole length of the building, waiting to get into that store. And the word inside is people just coming in and buying stupid stuff. Like, they're just bored. People are bored, right? They're buying stuff for their backyard.
They've been sitting at home saving up all their money.
Yeah,
they just want to go out and something to do, right?
Well, they won't go on Amazon because they got to wait an extra 2 weeks.
Right.
So I need a barbecue brush. I need it now. I need it now. I got to get my barbecue brush. So Joel, do you want to do a song, and then when you're done your song, we'll cheer really loud and everything like that, and then we'll talk about Primal Health. We're going to dive into that.
Sounds good.
Joel's going to bang out a song. We never did a sound check on the. If we wanted a sound check, Joel was going to charge us an extra $150, and we said we'll just go live. We'll just skip it.
All right. Still hear me?
Yeah. Sounds good.
Sounds great.
Today's gonna be the day they're gonna throw it back to you. By now you should have somehow realized what you gotta do. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you. Backbeat, the word is on the street that the fire in your heart went out. I'm sure you heard it all before, you never really had a doubt. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you. All the roads we have to walk are winding. All the lights that lead us there are blinding. There are many things that I'd like to say to you, but I don't know how. Because maybe gonna be the one who saves me. And after all, you're my wonder wall. Today was gonna be the day, but they'll never throw it back to you. By now you should have somehow realized what you're not to do. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you. All the roads we have to walk are winding. That's fun. All the lights that lead you there are blinding. There are many things that I would like to say to you, but I don't know how. Don't know how. Cause maybe gonna be the one who saves me. And after all, you're my wonder wall. I said maybe gonna be the one who saves me. Gonna be the one who saves me. Gonna be the one who saves me.
Nice.
All right.
Standing ovation.
The
Headphones fell off.
I nearly had to mute my mic because I started singing along to it. I was like,
what?
oh, I can't.
I almost did. At one point, I almost did
jeez.
too. I was tempted.
That's awesome. I love that song. That's great.
It's that kind of song.
Awesome.
You know, you get to the point and you just want to jump in and start singing it. Yeah.
1994, 95, somewhere around there.
Something like that. Yeah.
That was a big hit, man. Those guys were massive, weren't they? Oasis, especially in England. Oh,
Yeah.
they thought they were the Beatles, though, didn't they?
Yes,
one
they
of them.
did. They were part of the Brotherly Love tour, were they not?
Brotherly Love Tour, yeah. But they were. It's
With,
funny though. As much as
the
they
Black
were crazy,
Crows and
Oh, right.
they
way
played
back
it
in the
so
day.
well. They played
Brothers
it
who-
so
all the
well.
bands were the brothers who didn't get along. Yeah.
I actually liked their. I liked the arrogance and the attitude they had. I don't think they were doing it. I think it might have been a bit of a show, but it come to the point where they played the part so well. I think they became the part, and it's just I got a big kick out of it. My entertainment, why not? That was awesome.
Sure.
Yeah, it's
That's
funny because I guess, did you grow up listening to the 90s music? Was that the reason was that the big influence for you? For me, it was the 70s. Oh.
Yeah, for me, it was like, depends what you consider formative years, I guess. But as a kid, I was 10 in 1984, and so I was into Van Halen and Motley Crue and Iron Maiden and all of that, and then sort of evolved, and you get to college and it's 90s grunge.
Right.
Yeah. We got some people listening. Colleen Gallant, is that your mom?
That's my mom.
Awesome.
Hi, Mom.
She's so proud. That's it. Didn't he do great? Yeah. So anyways, it was good. I loved it. It was great. So let's get into this primal health thing, because that was the whole caveman theme for the week. I've got it on my wall. I'm in the cave.
I'm just a caveman.
Do that one more time.
I'm just a caveman. Your world frightens and confuses me.
I love it. So
I could listen to him all night.
I got big into the primal health thing too, and so what got you into it? What got you into it? Well, maybe if you want to dive into it and explain a little bit of, maybe do the Cole's Notes version of what primal health is, and
yeah, we'll need 2 shows.
Yeah.
So primal health gets confused with paleo a lot, of course, and they're very, very close. But primal is sort of more of an all-encompassing lifestyle, so as opposed to just the diet portion of it. And for me, it was about health. I have an autoimmune disease, Crohn's disease, and it was about trying to mitigate the effects of that and try to make myself feel better without using medication. So I was successfully able to do that. And afterward, I got really just more and more interested in it. Next thing I know, I was listening to the podcasts and watching YouTube videos and reading books and more and more and more. And now I find myself studying to become a certified coach. So it's just really kind of taken my interest.
Yeah. So do you hunt your food with a spear like a caveman? A man was arrested in Whitby the other day. He said he's a caveman.
I got myself a raccoon back the other day.
You should be on the Joe Rogan podcast. That's where you should be. You can talk about hunting.
Yeah.
Have you ever do you hunt at all? Do you hunt? Like,
no,
I don't either.
I think it's funny. Before we got on here, we were joking around about Ted Nugent being on the Joe Rogan podcast and talking about hunting. And it's funny because as much as Ted Nugent rubs a lot of people the wrong way, in probably more so in left-wing circles, but he really opened my eyes as far as the hunting part goes, because I grew up thinking, why don't you just buy your food at the grocery store? It's cruel to hunt. And that was just kind of my mindset growing up. And the way he talks about it, and it's, so much more humane than some of these crazy feeding operations that we, slaughterhouses and all of that stuff. You're thinking, wow, he's actually making some sense. So, there are a couple of ways to look at it.
Well, I was exactly the same. I was anti-hunting, I guess. Maybe I was more anti-guns, and that kind of fell into it, right? Because if you don't,
right. Yeah.
But then I started, listening to all those guys talk. I mean, they all kind of fall into the same thing, but yeah, it does make sense, because I know what's fishing is like. You go out fishing, unless you go to a trout stream or a trout farm, or you go to a really stocked little river. It's a lot of work. You imagine going again in a freaking deer. Like now now you just have to go down the street. There's something running around. They're all coming out of the woods. They're all coming out of the woods.
Now that the humans are getting out of the way a little bit.
So primal health. So you're actually working towards becoming a certified a primal health coach. Is that what you're trying to do? Coach, right. Yeah,
so scope of practice for a coach is mostly like, encouragement and just like what you would think of a coach in a sports league or a life coach or something like that. So it's not, I wouldn't be one who would diagnose something or assign a particular diet, but if somebody came to me and said, this is the lifestyle I want to live and I need some guidance.
How to throw the spear, how to hunt the raccoon.
Or decorate my walls in my cave. But it's amazing because it's amazing though when you change your diet that way. But it's discipline. It's all about discipline. You really got to teach discipline, because I know myself, I up and down with certain things, but Now, Primal Health. So I believe that you're doing it through the Mark Sisson group, right?
Yes.
Right. And now Tim Below, he's involved with selling products, Primal Health products. And we used to, we used to sell Primal Health products at the cafe when we had the cafe. We were selling their salad dressings and stuff like that. I was bringing it in because
you could supply all of Primal Kitchen's product.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So.
First the Pearl Jam connection, and now this.
Exactly.
It's all connected. It's all meant to be. See, woo. It's all like it's all like you can go now. You start believing in stuff.
7 degrees of Mark Robbins.
Yeah, 7 degrees. It's getting a little warm in here, but no, it's.
I have 2 salad dressings in my fridge, and I go through about a jar of Primal Kitchen mayonnaise.
I know the avocado oil and the mayo is good.
Yeah, at $15 a jar, it better be good, right?
Costco has a coconut one now. That's organic coconut mayo too. That's really good. So do you tinker with a keto diet at all?
Yeah, I'll jump in and out of like quote unquote nutritional ketosis once in a while, just sort of reset myself and get my metabolic flexibility, I guess would be a good way to put it, just to get yourself where you can switch over to burning a little bit more fat, and then I'll switch back. Like now I'm at the point where I can jump in and out easily. I could just fast for a day and I'm back in ketosis. So
that's what I find too. Yeah, you don't get that keto flu as they call it as fat like you used to get it. Like I've been jumping back. Right. You don't think don't go into ketosis. Don't go into a ketose diet when the COVID-19's around because you think you're getting the COVID-19. Oh my God, I'm dying. No, I'm not. I'm just going into ketosis. But it's true. Right. I remember.
No, but the thing is when you're eating in a sort of primal way, which is pretty much paleo, you're still not consuming sugar. You're not consuming grains. You're not really much dairy. So it's not as hard to go into a keto style.
You're just really introducing more root vegetables. It's probably the
you would allow more
sweet potato.
And the difference between paleo and primal, it's basically just the dairy, is it not? The paleo restricts it a little more. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and then there are different levels. So somebody who is strict paleo would say absolutely no dairy, and then somebody who's paleo-ish would say, well, it comes from an animal, so we're still in the same wheelhouse and we're getting the nutrition we need. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Primal would say, full fat dairy or something like that, but not the processed chemical added stuff.
And Primal Health is also not just the diet. There's more lifestyle as well, is there not?
Yeah. So the whole the exercise portion of it, using your body for what it was meant to do. So a lot of movement throughout the day, but not as harsh. So for instance, I used to work out like crazy, like just, high impact training every day or every 2 days. And then as my autoimmune was flaring, I started to realize I was beating the crap out of my body all the time and it just couldn't recover. So the primal lifestyle is a little bit more functional, I guess.
Yeah. Brad Kearns is a big fan of that. Cutting back on, because back in the day, Mark Sisson did Ironman, and I remember
he was a triathlete.
That's right. When I was training for Ironman too, I was doing like going crazy with training and stuff like that. Then when I jumped into keto and I found all those guys in their podcasts, they were basically saying we were doing way too much. You're beating your body up, and I did that with my knees. My knees are sore now from running too much because A-type personality. I got to run faster every time, right?
Right.
But you're right. You beat yourself up. Yeah. So you're not doing yourself. You think you're out there doing yourself some good by exercising all the time, but all you're doing is more damage, more stress on your body. Exactly.
Yeah, and then the deeper you get into it, you start to get into things like heart rate zones and fat burning zones, and where your body's burning fat to where it starts looking for glucose, and you start to get into all the technical aspects of it and say, oh wow, I was really doing this wrong.
So there you go, Mark. Don't exercise too much.
Yeah.
You're better off take it easy.
I'll cut down.
I love the laws for the Primal Health. Like some of them are just great. Like just don't do stupid things. Yeah. I don't know. It's just it's just
that's one of the
basic. It's exactly. And it's get some sleep. Yeah.
Like,
Don't avoid poisonous things. It's just.
Well, so many people.
Great rules to live by.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so many
Common
people.
sense.
We don't do the right things. Like even that we were talking earlier before the show started about Matthew Walker's book, Why We Sleep. And man, that was such an eye-opening book for me, what I got out of there. And they said that nurses that do shift work, like talk about essential services as being a hazard right now. But even before COVID-19, essential services was brutal because they work shift work. And they said women that work shift work are 40% have a 40% higher risk of getting breast cancer because they don't sleep at a proper time. They don't follow their circadian rhythm. And I couldn't believe that.
We just went for, decades and centuries thinking that sleep was the cure for sleepiness. And then eventually we realized, well, wait a minute, nature must have us sleeping a third of our lives for a reason. And now we're starting to realize that, we're cleaning out a lot of bad stuff when almost like that computer reboot, I guess, is the simple metaphor.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it is. It's amazing.
Yeah,
All the little, they're little tricks that you don't have to do it. And the other thing is too, you were talking about primal health, a lifestyle. You can actually work out without going to a gym. Like you had a post the other day about you could go pick up boulders, run up hills and stuff like that. I mean, you can kind of embrace that lifestyle and do it that way, which is kind of cool. Like the old Rocky movie kind of thing.
When you get into it, it's really fun. Like you go to the forest and you say, you start, you look at a tree and think, wow, that's a perfect pull-up tree. And like just little things like that jump out at you before you would have never noticed.
Yeah, it kind of brings back being a kid a bit.
Yeah. And that's one of the primal laws, to make sure you get out there and play, because it's important that we lose that.
Actually, jumping back, speaking about being a kid, you two below, it's like the Brady Bunch kind of thing. But my connection to Joel is Joel hasn't paid his hydro bill since he got back from Florida. His lights are going out. But my other connection to Joel is Joel messaged me one day, and he knew I was into contracting because I certainly don't make my money from coming on this on Tuesday night. I do contracting, and his son was looking for a co-op. So I said, sure, bring him in. I can't beat having a co-op student. And he worked out great. But then this all happened, and he couldn't finish it. So it was a real disappointing because he was into tiny homes, and we were working on a tiny home at the time. So I had found somebody who had an interest in something that we're actually doing. And he's a great kid. And then all of a sudden, everything just stopped. And now it's all up in the air. So unbelievable. Yeah. What a mess.
And now he's in my house constantly.
He's a nice kid. They're always nice when they're not your kids. Isn't it? I hope you're watching, Max. But
better when they go.
But what was
home,
interesting was when they had the strike. So right before the COVID-19, they had the strike on. Erica's yelling. The first connection was through me. She wants a shout out. Erica, you get a shout out. Yes, it was. Jeez. Everyone's in here. I got to give her a like for that one. I'm going to give her a laugh. There we go. I'll give her a like. Yeah, Erica. That's right. Erica's another primal being. She's out running in the woods all the time.
Erica is a force of nature.
Yes, she is. She does these long 50K runs, 50, 100. Oh, crazy nut. So I'm trying to think. I met Erica first. It must have been through someone in the running room because I was connected with all these people. And then that's how I met Joel, through Erica. And then that's how I met Max. And that's how we ended all up here. But because what was I going to say? Oh, back to the lockdown or the strike. So he comes in as a co-op student. He's all excited about doing this co-op. And then the teachers go on strike. And he can't come because there's no teacher at the school that day. So he can't come to his co-op.
Right.
It was, and he was disappointed. Yeah, he was like, because we were going to do something. I think we were going to put some neat stuff into the tiny home. We were working on something. So he basically was working on, he was looking stuff up on his phone the day before. We were figuring something out. And the next day he couldn't come and finish it because the school, he wasn't allowed because the school was on strike for the day.
Right. Yeah. And then now this with the lockdown, and he's sort of, he has to check in once a week and do a meeting like on Zoom or Skype or something, and he's getting hours for piddling around the house or whatever, but he's not getting the experience that he wanted, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's hard. Like, these are the things that come with it. Like, yeah, people don't realize, like, the setback. Like, you take sport, and we'll get into this next week because we've got Joe Tilley coming on. But and I want to touch on how sports, like, you figure if you're a kid, this was your year to go into the draft. Mm-hmm. How that could affect your rest of your life. You've worked so hard for this opportunity. Now there's the next level coming in at the same time. So now you got all these kids maybe going into a draft, depending on what year it is or whatever. So people don't realize that. Someone might say, "Oh, well, big deal," but that's a big deal for a kid that spent his whole life trying to get somewhere. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of. I've been very fortunate through this whole thing, and that's one of the reasons I haven't wanted to talk about it a lot, because I feel kind of almost guilty. Because, we don't have any kids living at home. We haven't had to deal with all that. It's been like I was talking to someone earlier. It was like a vacation. And
yeah, I've had
right.
a bit of COVID guilt. as well.
Exactly.
My kids are they do their work. Even my youngest is 14, so she's doing her work online through high school, and she's just kind of doing her thing. And Max is 18, and my older boy's working. He's a grown man. So it's I almost feel guilty like that.
It's just being honest. You know what it is? It's just being honest, calling it what it is, and I think that's important. All right, so all you people out there, if you need to start living like a primal being, you need to give Joel a call. But Joel's gonna give us another song. I think gonna give us another song.
Yeah.
Gonna kick one out.
All right, let's hear one.
Taking these off this time because
they're going to come off anyway.
All right, Joel, take us away.
She says it's cold outside, and she hands me my raincoat. She's always worrying about things like that. Well, she said it's all gonna end, and it might as well be my fault. She only sleeps when it's raining, and she screams, and her voice it's straining. She says, baby, it's 3 a.m., I must be lonely. She says, baby, I can't help but be scared of it all sometimes. Rain's gonna wash away, I believe in. She got a little bit of something, and God, it's better than nothing. And in a color portrait world, she believes that she's got it all. She swears the moon don't hang quite as high as it used to. She only sleeps when it's raining, and she screams, and her voice it's straining. She says, baby, it's 3 a.m., I must be lonely. She says, baby, I can't help but be scared of it all sometimes. The rain's gonna wash away, I believe in.
She believes that life is made up of all that you're used to. And the clock on the wall has been stuck at 3 for days and days and days. She thinks that happiness is a life that sits on a doorway. Yeah. Well, outside it stopped to raining. Yeah, she says, baby, it's 3 a.m. I must be lonely. Yeah, well, she says, baby, yeah, I can't help but be scared of it. Oh, sometimes the rain's gonna wash away. She says, baby, it's 3 a.m. I must be lonely, lonely. Yeah, well, she says, baby, I can't help but be scared of it. Oh, sometimes.
All right.
Nice. All right. I have not heard that song in a long time.
It's another beauty that I had to be careful not to sing along to.
Sounded great.
So soon, Joel, you'll be out in the bars. Soon you'll be out training people. We have shirts now, guys. We have shirts. Yay! Shirts.
You printed them backwards.
Well, on your screen, not on my screen. You got to pay more to get the screen the right way.
They look great in the mirror, I bet.
We have shirts for chicks, pink. Now, can you say chicks anymore? Can you say chicks?
Probably not.
You also cannot insinuate pink should be for a particular
girls.
Well, I like because it's all C's, right? C. So what word works for a girl that starts with C? Chicks.
Oh boy.
Chicks.
Don't go
whoa.
Hey,
see the C's there again. So you gotta the C-section. That's what's more fitting for a girl than a C-section. Anyways, that's us. C-section. So the shirts are going to be available, and our guests get a gift pack now. But don't tell the guests that were on before, because
just let the cat out of the bag.
We're going to have them come back on to get the gift back. So guests now get T-shirts and coffee, freshly roasted coffee beans. That's awesome!
Great.
What a great that's primal. Well, it's primal. Coffee's primal. Are you a coffee drinker? Excellent.
Sometimes.
You are now. Someone's going to be. Eric is a coffee drinker. Is Eric?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you.
Awesome.
A big shout out to Joe again for the song for our intro to This Week in Music. Oh,
Way to go,
not
Joseph.
You, That's
Yeah.
Joel. See, I knew I was getting into this. This Joel, Mark, Tim. We need another Tim. We need another Tim on the show. That's what we need.
No, there's only.
And my dad's
There's only
name
one
is Joe, so it's like a whole confusing family.
my
Holy
God.
cow.
Well, you know what? That's
Crazy.
why I used Henry in my name, because on the internet, Mark Robinson is like John Smith.
Right. Oh, by the way, speaking of Joe, say hi to Joe Tilley for me next week. Great mentor of mine.
Yes, of course.
Perfect.
Yeah, we've
Perfect.
got.
When I
two
was
sports
when
guys
I
in
was
row.
a young sportscaster, he brought me into CTV, showed me around, let me watch him work for a whole night, took me out for lunch. Great guy, and huge impact on me for my career. So I really appreciate Joe.
Oh, that's awesome. We'll talk about that.
You should know that.
Great.
We'll find out. We'll find out next week what you really like.
Secrets will come out.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Just out of curiosity, what Pearl Jam song were you going to do tonight?
Oh yeah, I had that for a third. If there ended up being time, I was going to do "Elderly Woman Behind the Counter in a Small Town."
Nice. Oh wow.
We should make them do it.
Short title.
Great song.
Well, you can come on next time when we have more gifts.
Now that there's coffee involved.
Now there's coffee and shirts.
Free coffee
Who
beans.
knows? Maybe boxers down the road.
Nice.
Maybe boxers. Well, Joe Rogan has what are they called? MeUndies.
Oh.
He sponsors MeUndies, but we need more sponsors. We'll get more sponsors.
We'll get more sponsors.
Tim, get some more sponsors. Primal Health. Primal Kitchen would be
Primal
a good sponsor.
Kitchen, yeah.
Yeah.
When they hear about this, they'll be running as far as they can from advertising with us. What the hell were they talking about? Anyways, I think it's 10 o'clock right on the dot, so we'll get going.
All right.
10 o'clock, time to go.
I got to get Joe's way past his bedtime.
Thank you, guys. Had a great time.
Hey, thanks, guys. We'll see you guys.
Thank you
Tim,
so
Mark,
much.
see you next week. And cuts like a knife.
Coughs like a knife.